Welcome to all of you. Myself, Dr. S R Prasad, working as a professor in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today, I am going to cover arches. Topic is arches. In the course, analysis of structures. Arch. First, what is the definition of arch? Arch is a vertical curved beam that spans an elevated space and may or may not support the weight above it. I hope you all know what is the meaning of arch. Already from long time, almost all olden buildings, in the case of doors and windows openings, arches are usually provided. In other words, arch is a curved shaped structure constructed with wedge-shaped unit to support weight of wall above it. See the figure now. It is of curved shape that is high in the center. This is the center, high in the center, and with the ends of the arch are pointing down. Okay. See, very simple definition is an upside down of alphabet U is an example of an arch. Very simple definition. In case of beams, what is the, here I will tell why arches are more beneficial than beams. In case of beams supporting UDL, uniformly distributed load, the maximum bending moment increases with the square of the span. I hope all of you know bending moment equation is WL square by 8. L square, that is maximum bending moment, increases with the L square in that formula. WL square is the, W is the load per unit length. Okay, here it is square with the square of the span, and hence beams become uneconomical for long span structures. Reason is, as span increases, bending moment increases. But in the case of arches, they would develop only horizontal reactions. In the case of arches, they would develop only horizontal reactions at the ends, which in turn reduce the design bending moment. Whereas in case of beams, bending moment increases. In the case of arches, bending moment decreases, reduces. That is the advantage. So that chances of failure gets reduced. Okay. Next. Same one more time, it is a definition. Arch is a curved shaped structure constructed with wedge-shaped unit to support weight of wall above the arch. In an arch, blocks or bricks are arranged in such a manner that it can support each other and load of bricks above arch. Weight of above wall is transferred through piers and or abutments. Abutments are at the bottom of the piers, right? Now we will see different component parts of arch. It is very important to know the parts of arch so that we can understand the problems, questions, to answer the questions easily in the exam. So we should be thorough enough to know the component parts of arch. Let me revise once again. Arch is the structure that is constructed over the opening of the windows, doors, or cupboards, etc. The arch structure is also used in bridge construction. You might have seen in many railway bridges, they go for arches. In ancient times, it was the most common structure. Arch is the most common component used in any type of building. Arch may be circular, elliptical, or any other shape. But in olden buildings, it consists of wedge-shaped blocks. Wedge-shaped blocks means one side like this. Here it is less. Here it is maybe C. It is greater than B. This dimension is less compared to this dimension. Right. Wedge-shaped blocks of stone, bricks, etc. Arch may be made of steel or RCC in case of bridge construction. Okay, now we'll see the different parts of the arch briefly along with the figures. See the figure, abutment. We'll see what do you mean by the abutment. Abutment is the end support of an arch. End of arch is this. In order to support the ends of the arch, abutments are provided. This is the abutment. This and this both are abutments. In other words, it is the abutment is the end support of a span on which the arch rests. The abutment may be walls or columns. In the case of buildings, in the case of retaining wall, it becomes abutment also act as retaining wall in bridges. Right? An abutment should be designed in such a way that it can easily withstand arch thrust. arch thrust, it should be able to resist the thrust, means the force coming from the arch should be resisted by the abutment. Okay, next part, piers. Piers is also a supporting member of an arch, but it is the intermediate supporting member. Piers are used when a series of arch is constructed. That means here below abutment, these are the piers. Okay. Piers is also a supporting member of an arch, but it is the intermediate supporting member. Why it is intermediate supporting member? Because here it is foundation. Sorry, this is substructure, foundation. Between foundation and abutments, piers are present. That is why it is called as intermediate. That is why it is called as intermediate supporting member. Piers are used when a series of arches is constructed. That means in many old buildings you can see this is arch and again arch, arch like this, and abutment, abutment, below abutment, these are piers. These are piers. Piers are used when a series of arch is constructed. Series of arch means this one, 2, 3, 4, like this, and these are piers. Right? Next part is arch ring. You can see the figure. What is arch ring? This whole curved shape is called arch ring. It is a course of wedge-shaped blocks arranged in a curved form, and supported on abutment or piers. Already you know what is meant by abutment and piers. This arch ring is supported on abutment or piers. Sometimes without making abutments, directly arch ring will get supported on piers. That is why here it is written R. Arch ring is a course of wedge-shaped blocks. These are the blocks. 1, 2, 3. All these are blocks. Right? Arranged in a curved form. You can see here it is curved form. And this curved form is supported on abutments or piers. Now, one more part. Usually, we'll ignore this, but very important. Intrados. This is the intrados means inner curved surface of the arch. This is the inner, intrados is the inner curved surface of the arch. You can see here. This whole surface all together is called intrados. right? This is the fourth part. Total we have 18 parts of arch. In this lecture, we'll cover all the 18 parts of arch. Now fourth part completed. Next is extrados. Extrados means intrados means inner, extrados means outer curved surface of the arch. And one more name for this is extrados is also called as back of the arch ring, right? Extrados is the outer curved surface. Intrados is inner curved surface. Intrados is inner surface. Extrados is outer curved surface. And it's one more name of this is back of the arch ring. In the exam, if the back of the arch ring name is given, should understand that it is extrados. Okay. Next, sixth part is soffit. The soffit is the bottom surface of the arch. Intrados and soffit. Don't get confused. Intrados is the inner surface, and soffit is also same. Intrados and soffit terms are used to indicate the same thing. Don't get confused. Sometimes in exam, instead of intrados, instead of the word intrados, they may use the term soffit in the place of intrados. Here the spelling is I-N-T, intrados. Next, 7. Span of the arch. What is the meaning of the span of the arch? It is nothing but a clear horizontal distance between the supports. The span of the arch is nothing but a clear horizontal distance between the supports. Supports may be piers or abutment, right? This is the span of the arch. Total 18 parts we have to remember. These are the fundamental points. One should know these terms and the meaning of those terms very clearly. Next, 8. Part 8 is the crown. The crown is see the figure. The crown is the highest part of an arch. Highest part is here. In other words, it is the height points of the extrados arch. Extrados means already you know, outer curved surface of the arch. On the outer curved surface of the arch, highest part of an arch is the crown, right? Whenever the terms you hear, you should be able to visualize these figures. When these terms are hard, crown, span of the arch, extrados, intrados, abutments, piers, So whenever you hear the terms, names of these terms, immediately you should be able to visualize the figures I am showing here. Right? Now, next part is voussoirs. Voussoirs. This is very important term, commonly used in problems of arches. In questions, you will get. These are voussoirs are wedge-shaped units. You can see in these both figures. These are wedges. Wedges shaped units by which the arch ring is created. If you observe in any place, you can clearly notice these voussoirs. These block units may be of brick, stone, or plain cement concrete. These are also called arch blocks. Right? After voussoirs, very important term. Usually people use, students used to forget this term. Next is the keystone. Keystone is also a wedge-shaped block unit, but it is longer than voussoirs. This unit is placed at the highest point of the arch. It is nothing but the keystone. Crown is also crown, as you've seen in previous slide. Crown is here. This is called crown. And the crown on the keystone, on the top of the keystone, we find the crown. Keystone is also a wedge-shaped block unit. See, shape is wedge shape. This is the wedge shape. Right? This unit is placed at the highest point of the arch. During construction, the last step in the construction of arch is the placement of this keystone. Stably, arch should stand, means this keystone is provided. Otherwise, arch will get immediately damaged if keystone is not provided. Okay, next. Skew back. Skew back is the splayed surface prepared on the top of an abutment or pier to receive the arch. Archwork actually starts from the skew back. That means on the abutment, some proper surface is prepared to start the construction of arch. That is called skew back. Construction of arch starts from skew back. right? Right. Now, springing points. See, on the top of the skew back, we'll find the springing points, and this term is also very important because in problems of arches, usually this word term is used. The distance between two between the springing points is some 4 meters or 5 meters. So we'll see what is the definition of springing point. These are the points. See, these are the points from where the curve of an arch starts. This curve of arch is started from this point. Okay, these are the point at which intrados and skew backs intersect. Intrados means already inner surface of the arch. Inner curved surface of the arch is called intrados, and skew back already in previous slide you understood. On the top of the abutment, some preparation is made. Actually, the construction of arch starts from skew back. The intersection of this skew back and intrados is the springing point. Okay, right? Now, 12 parts we learned. Now we'll move to next one. Springing line. See, it is an imaginary horizontal line. Remember, springing line is the imaginary horizontal line joining the two springing points. Usually any arch has two springing points, and if we join a horizontal straight line from one springing point to other springing point, that is called springing line. You can see in the figure the straight horizontal line from one springing point to other springing point. It's called springing line. Okay. Now next, springers. It is the first visor, or first visor means this. On the left side is first visor is this, and on right side it is the first visor or beginning visor at the springing level on either side of the arch. This one. It is the first visor or beginning visor at the springing level on either side of the arch. Either side, here or here. These are called springers. Right? Now, depth of arch. Students used to get confused. This is not the depth of arch. Usually they may think this is not the depth of arch. See the figure? What is the depth of arch? It is the vertical distance between the intrados and extrados. Extrados means here. See the figure? This is extrados. This is extrados, and this is intrados. The vertical distance between see here, vertical distance between The intrados and extrados of arch is called the depth of arch. Okay, these terms looks easy, but usually gets confused while doing the problems. They misunderstood. So you should be very clear, carefully you should learn. Haunch. If you imagine a line between crown and skew back, then the portion below the imagined line is known as haunch. This already we discussed what is meant by the crown and what is meant by skew back, and the crown and skew back, if you draw a line and through imagination, you should imagine here. If you imagine a line between a crown and skew back, then portion below the imagined line is known as haunch. Haunch, haunch. Right? Next, total up to now 16 parts we have seen. Now 17th term is center of the arch. As its name suggests, it is the geometrical center of the curve of an arch. Here in the figure you can see this is the center of an arch. Geometrical center means this complete curved portion. You have to locate or estimate the center using this curved shape, and that center is known as the center of the arch. Okay, now we'll go to the last part, 18th. That is raise. Here, previously I told in previous slide, don't get confused by the depth of the arch and depth of arch and raise of arch are different. Raise means this, from center of the arch to the crown, highest point below the curved surface. These you should not take raise from here to here. It is wrong. You have to take from center of the arch to the, here we wrote, highest point below the curved surface. Below curve is this. That is intrados of the arch. Highest point of the intrados of the arch. Okay, so in this lecture we learned total 18 parts of the arch. Completed. Whenever you hear the terms, these component parts, immediately you should be able to visualize the figures shown here. Right? Now I'll stop here. Thank you for your patience. In the next class, the next lecture, I will cover the topics like types of arches and some problems on arches. Fundamental problems. Right? Okay, thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.